Jay.
So I love like when we get started because you're doing mouth exercises.
You know, it also looks like one of those, even Jen's doing mouth exercises, which is great. You know, I believe mouth exercises make you happy. Like when we're getting ready to start, it makes you smile, it makes you laugh, it gets those happy endorphins going in your body. And there's nothing that makes me happier than recording a podcast with my favorite oldest sister.
Yeah, well, I just want to tell you that watching you do mouth exercises actually makes me happy.
I feel like I'm going to eat it. Like
you kind of look like, you know, when you see that, and not to say that it's like a horse, but Mr. Ed, when he laughs, his mouth is like, ha, 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 you can see. And then he sticks out his tongue.
I actually feel like a little bit like The Walking Dead, who, if you'd like to sponsor us, I'm sure there's caregiving in The Walking Dead. I think caregivers can say, I feel a little bit like The Walking Dead, where you're just walking around, you're like, okay. Anyway, sorry, guys, we went off the rails this morning for this one.
I got a surprise for you. We do have a guest.
And she's not a zombie.
She is kicking it, and she's kicking butt. And I am I told her before we got started, I'm actually super excited today because she has yet another tool for me. I'm very selfish because anytime somebody comes on.
We just do the podcast for interventions for ourselves so that we can also survive.
Yeah. See, there you go. And so let me introduce you to her because I'm getting started. I mean, I'm going straight to tools. I don't care about her story. I want to know how she survives.
That is so kind.
I know. So, okay, I'll listen to the story first. Okay. Today we have Jenn Fredericks, and she's joining us. She totally understands caregiving. Guys, it's as a giver and as a receiver. Now, Jenn has been living with chronic kidney disease for over 30 years. And for the past 10 years, she's been caregiving for her daughter through health challenges, including a brain tumor. Now, she's also long distance caring for her parents. Jenn says she could be sitting in her car some days, unable to face walking through her own front door because she felt so overwhelmed while everyone around her kept saying how resilient she was. Don't you love that? Like everybody's like, oh, you're doing a great job.
You're so fantastic. I didn't have to do anything to help. Thanks.
Yeah. But she says that experience led her down a path to help others, including the creation of the Caregiving Relief You Don't Have to Wait For guide. I like that name right off the bat. Here's a spoiler alert. It all starts with a pause.
I can't believe you gave it
So that's what I'm waiting on. The pause.
Give it away.
Jenn, we are so excited to have you here with us today.
Yay! Oh, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to speaking with you guys.
Oh, well, we're going to have good fun. And I'm very interested to hear about your caregiving experience. And really, it's almost a little bit of a reverse with you being a recipient, you actually having your own kind of chronic illness yourself and having a long-term illness that you've been dealing with and managing. And then the roles shifted. And so, because I'm sure, you're the mama bear. So anyway, I don't want to even get further into that. I want you to roll it out and then we'll ask questions as we're going along because we're interrupting cows. And let's start off with how we always start off. Give us a little bit about your background. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about family. Of course, birth order, we are always interested in. But just kind of bring us up to speed and get us where, tell us about life and up to care.
Yeah. So, I was born in Ohio, but I now live in Wisconsin. And in between there were several moves as well. I am the baby. I'm the youngest.
Baby. Of how many?
Just two. My sister's 9 years older than I am. And she currently lives in the Midwest as well, but about, 7 hours from me. So that's sad. But I lived a lot in Ohio on a farm. We moved to Texas with my dad's job. And then I started feeling ill then in middle school, found ourselves in a small town in upstate New York where the doctor finally was like, oh, I know what's wrong with you. It's not chronic fatigue syndrome. It's kidney disease, and you need a kidney transplant at 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
It was, kind of like divine intervention that we were in this huge metropolitan area and then moved to this small rural town. And that primary doctor, my new pediatrician, is the one who said, I know what this is. And I was very blessed to receive a kidney from my dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that lasted 18 years through all of the growing up milestones. And then it got tired and it said, I'm out. And I was lucky enough that I had married into the right family because my husband's fraternal twin brother was a match and gave me a kidney in 2012.
No kidding.
Yeah.
These people are generous to their kidneys. I got to tell you, Matt, I'm not sure I could give you a kidney. I mean, fine. I pass out.
Was there like a test on the sense of from your brother's? I like that your husband's. It was your husband's fraternal twin brother, which I love that he's a twin, because twins run in our family too, which is near and dear to our heart. But did he check with you to say, like, how have you treated your dad's kidney? Which is, I mean, and were you kind to it in your 20s? Were you respectful of the kidney? Because if I'm going to go under the slicey dicey,
right,
I'm going to need you to make this one work for a while.
So, funny story. My dad is a connoisseur of Jack Daniels. And so,
who doesn't love a little bourbon?
Who doesn't? Especially in a Coke. And so right after the transplant with my father back in 93, I did go through an acute kidney rejection where I lived in the hospital for about a month trying to get the kidney back to liking my body.
Yeah.
And my dad looks at the doctor and said, well, you just need to set up an IV of Jack Daniels because it's been without for a while.
I was ready to say, I know he was going to say, could you just pipe in Jack? Because it'll perk right up and be like, I'm sorry, what?
The doctor looked at me and was like,
I love your dad.
That's hilarious. This makes me happy. This I feel like the name of this is going to be Jack. This episode is going to be a little Jack.
I mean, a little Jack can never hurt. Well, I mean,
right.
It can for some people, but
yeah.
So I do treat my kidney really well. We ended up naming it. I didn't name my first kidney, but then a nurse asked me once here in Milwaukee, like, hey, have you named your kidney from your brother? And I'm like, no. I'm like, wow, he really likes sports and stuff. So maybe I'll name it Giannis for the Bucks player. So.
Oh, okay. I like that you named it after football because that seems completely appropriate from a person who lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's actually the Giannis is a basketball player, but I wouldn't have been aware either because I like music and theater and not so much sports. But the only reason I know is because of my brother-in-law.
So he named it after a basketball player. All right.
Yeah.
As long as we got the sports theme going on.
Yeah, we're good.
I feel a little rocky music in my ear, like da-na, da-na. Like I can see the kidney like working out, like lifting weights and stuff and running up the stairs in Philly. But
this kidney is staying. It's there for good.
It is. It's treating me really well. And that's one of the reasons why I thought I had it when my daughter was diagnosed with her brain tumor.
So how many children do you have?
Tell us about getting married and all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I met my husband because I dated his best friend from kindergarten before I dated and married my husband. And we're all still really great friends. We actually just saw each other a couple of weeks ago at a party for my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary. So anyway, lovely wedding. I think like 7 attendees on either side. It was a beautiful celebration. And my husband and I are he doesn't call me his best friend. He's like, no, it's deeper than a best friend. But I'm like, but I want a best friend. So I'm calling you my best friend. But we have a lot in common. Really love to listen to jam band music and spend time up at my in-laws' cabin on the lake during the summer. Really, I just couldn't ask for a better partner in this whole journey. And, he married me knowing that I have a bum kidney and that we'd be looking at adoption as a way to build our family rather than me being able to carry a child. And he was like, why would I want to have a child with anyone else if it isn't you? And yes, that's the way we'll build a family. And so we did. We welcomed our daughter into our family in 2008. And she is just, I call it a sunshine with the sky blue eyes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's a Blind Melon song.
Got it. Okay, so we're swimming. I mean, you're swimming along.
We're swimming along. Life's doing what it's supposed to.
So let me ask you this. I didn't realize your daughter was adopted. And so number one, I always say thank you to anyone who chooses adoption, because there are so many children who need love and care and that are out there. And so if you have the ability to adopt and it works for your family, then yeah, this you should do it. It's very rewarding. So how old was tell me, you said she was 8 when you adopted her?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's when she was diagnosed. We brought her home at 5 weeks old.
Oh, she was a baby nugget.
She's a baby. So we drove to the western side of the state. We were there the evening she was born. We got to hold her that night. And then with all of the legal proceedings and everything, she did live away from us for about 4 weeks, and we were able to visit. But then, yeah, we were foster parents for 6 months. That's how it works here in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And then finalized in May. And okay, do you guys like numbers?
Sure.
So
Okay.
yes.
29. I had my first kidney transplant July 29, 1993. We were able to bring our daughter Layla home October 29th, 2008. We finalized the adoption May 29th, 2009. Like 29 is a number for me.
29 is your number. I like that. Let me ask you this. Did you know if her biological family had a history of any, was that information shared? Because there's something to be said for knowing, just having worked in the foster care system for and mental health for 25 years, there's something to be said for having awareness about what happened in utero. And is this a child that was substance exposed? Like, is there a family history? Because then you have to really mentally plan for care. And not just, I'm raising a child. I say that respectfully. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we actually have I would call a semi-open adoption with her birth parents. And so we did receive a lot of information. We met them. They chose us as her adoptive parents. And from everything that we know of them and some of the, medical records that were released, she is very, very well taken care of.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So this brain tumor thing was like, it was like a fluke. I mean, pretty much the doctor said, and as soon as she was diagnosed, I first thought of her birth mother. I'm like, I want to let her know that this isn't something genetic. The doctor said it's bad luck.
Wow. So she's 8 years old. Now, I'm assuming you and your husband, are you guys working? So this is kind of you're feeling great, good kidney.
Yep.
You're like, hey,
I'm
life
working
is
at
good.
Harley Davidson at the time in events.
Oh, we love Harley. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So I got to go work Sturgis. I was working Atlantic Bike Week. I was around for the anniversaries here in Milwaukee. I was, chugging along, and he's a product development manager with an engineering background, and she just kept having these headaches. Just like headaches. And like, why is she having that? She was in gymnastics, very active, very full of life. And they had us start tracking, well, is it food allergies? Is it anxiety? Is it whatever it is? And I finally pushed enough Mama Bear to say, I'm not doing this anymore. You are getting me imaging.
Yeah.
And they got me imaging. And my husband was out of town the day she was diagnosed. And I called him and I said, well, the neurologist won't see her because she has a headache and is throwing up. They want us to go to Children's and have some migraine meds given to her. And I said, so I think that's what's going to happen. It's not like I'm expecting a brain tumor or anything. Click, hung up the phone. The tech actually accidentally left the curtain open between the CT room where we were and then the monitor. And I have never seen a brain tumor before. I've seen a lot of insides, like through kidney ultrasounds and stuff. But as soon as I saw the imaging come across, I'm like, oh, it is a brain tumor.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm assuming this really kind of affects you guys in 1,000 different ways. And you immediately, you already have your mama hat on. You've been a mama to her for 8 years, but this is a different level of planning and welcome to doctor's visits and all the things that come along with any type of significant illness, and prognosis and all the things, because it is kind of scary if you think about it, a tumor in your brain, you're like, I kind of need that. Like, yeah, you kind of need a kidney, right? But you're not thinking it didn't affect the brain.
So, you really need the brain.
You need the whole brain mostly.
Yeah.
So at this point, how does life start to shift for you and your husband? What starts to happen? Because you're going into in my mind, you become the dual role of caregiver starts to really show its face, I would assume. Now you're really going above and beyond what your average parent is going to do with traditional follow-ups and sick calls and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I thought I had it all handled. I had it all figured out. I've been doing this since 1993. I know the health system. I know the doctors. I know. But if you're listening and you know that feeling when you're drowning in everyone else's needs all of a sudden and you can barely breathe, that's what I became. And that's why I decided now to walk alongside caregivers like your listeners to discover, like, how do we find relief when we're doing all of the appointments, when we're doing the regular school things, when we're doing all the things, and when you can't actually get away. Like, I just can't go to Hawaii and sit on the beach. And I want to help people as well as myself show up present instead of depleted all the time, even when our caregiving never stops. And so we think as parents, taking care of our kids never stops. Yes. And like you said, Natalie, add this extra layer on top. And how do you do it? And I didn't know how to do it.
When you were at the hospital, and if people are watching video, you're going to see me. My mic is having issues, so please excuse me on that. It keeps turning down, which I feel like JJ has it. And now, and I'm actually going to pause because we need to take a break. But my mic is fighting me right now. So I apologize for that. If anybody's seeing this happen, because I'm like, oh, it's going down, but I think JJ secretly has it
on a lever.
We'll be right back. JJ, you can bring us back in.
All right.
I don't know about you, but my inbox is always cluttered with useless emails. But there's one I always open, the Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver newsletter. You may say, Natalie, what makes yours so special? Well, I'm biased, but don't just take my word for it. Here's what our subscribers say they love. First, it comes once per month, and you can read it in under 5 minutes. Next, you'll find amazing tips and resources to use in your everyday life. And who doesn't love a recommendation? These sisters do, which is why we share sister-approved products and discount links to save you time and money. And of course, you're first to know about the upcoming month's confessions. Just like our show, you're guaranteed to relate, be inspired, leave with helpful tips and resources, and of course, laugh. Go to our website, confessionsofareluctantcaregiver.com, to sign up for our newsletter today.
All right, everybody, we are back. And Jenn has said, wow, this is a time where you're not exactly sure how you're supposed to proceed because her daughter has been diagnosed with a brain tumor, 8 years old. Life was swimming along, and now she is full force into care. So that's what I want to talk about. First of all, tell me about what the doctors are telling you at this point when you've got an 8-year-old that you're in and she has a brain tumor. Tell me about what they're telling you and what you're feeling.
I went into complete, I'm a pretend doctor mode when we're in the actual diagnosis week of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I was, doing all the things. I was listening to all the doctors. We were attending all the rounds. I wasn't really feeling until one day the care team was in the room. My family was in the room. I was standing on the end of my daughter's bed, and everything that I had been pushing down in order to understand what was going on started to boil up, and it was about to erupt, and I was about to figuratively throw up everything that was inside of me in front of my sweet young thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, this calm just filled the room, came over me, and a voice outside of myself said, "Who do you want to be for her?" that was the first big pause.
Are you a faithful person? Are you a believer in God, or, because that doesn't matter. Because for me, I feel like if you're a believer in God, to me, that's like God and the Holy Spirit just being like, I got you, boo. And if you're not, that's okay. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, I do believe I have great faith. I'm very spiritual.
Yep.
I also, participated in the Catholic Church for a long time, but I also feel this just like one wholeness of universe and humanity
Yep.
that I honor. And I do believe that we all have access to some of these,
yes,
divine moments that we can experience. And that's not the first time I've had a divine experience in the hospital.
Yeah. I will tell you, and for me, and it's really, and this is the thing, and it's funny how religion is so like, you always want to be like, I sounded like I tiptoed around it, and that's absolutely because I did, because you never want to offend anyone, and for anyone who's listening, you may say, I don't align with that, and that's okay, because the thing is, for me, I think, I don't know how people personally don't do it without some level of faith or belief in something, because this is so beyond our control. All of this is beyond our control. And how do we pull down? How do we maintain hope? That's the thing is, and you're talking about, I believe in divine intervention, and whatever that looks like, that divine intervention looks like for you is how that looks like for you.
And Natalie, that's one of the pauses. You're speaking to one of the pauses that I share with people, which is, as we're getting to know our caregiving exhaustion and the 4 different types that I speak about, I talk about the I lost my identity pause. And so that's actually tying into like a spiritual pause, which is what is beyond us, what is outside of ourselves that helps support us and bring us hope. What is my mission, vision, goal? What helps me stay connected to my true north as we're going through these trials and tribulations,
So if you want to go over the 4, I'm interested now. You caught my attention. I'm like, oh, wait, I don't want to wait till the end on that one. So is this kind of a self-realization moment for you, that aha moment where it's like you get this sense of overwhelming kind of like, it's going to be okay. How do you want to approach this? And how you approach this is really going to impact your overall wellness, is kind of what I hear you saying.
Totally, but not on a straight line. Right? Because life doesn't keep us on a straight line. It throws us for loops. And so I thought I had it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Anytime I stray from showing up in the comfort and love and warmth that I want to be for her when she's in a place of fear and uncertainty and strange pokes by needles, anytime I start feeling that, I move myself into the warmth and love and comfort for her, but also for me.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty easy go of it after that first diagnosis and a shunt placement for hydrocephalus treatment. And then 2 years later, the tumor changed. And then
so was the tumor benign? Was it like, so you were able to treat it? Did they know what it was attributed to, or just?
They don't really know. I mean, and when you talk about a tumor in the brain, is it benign? Is it malignant?
Yeah.
There are those that are malignant, glioblastoma, those that are type 4s, those that are aggressive and spread. Hers is a low-grade glioma. And so while it's not quote unquote, malignant, because of where it is and the precious, land that it will take up in her brain, we do watch and wait. We watch and wait with MRIs. And then when there is a change or she starts to have issues with her memory center or some of those other things, then we have an intervention that we use.
Yeah.
So it was the intervention after she had some chemo done and some other infusions that held it at bay for a while. 2020, it changed.
COVID.
Changed.
Yeah.
So much that we had to have a partial tumor resection scheduled for her on New Year's Eve of 2020. And so here I am, immunosuppressed. My daughter's going in for a 6+ hour brain tumor surgery. I'm going to live in the hospital with her for the next month, masked, fearful, because there was nothing to protect me other than a mask and hand washing and having no visitors and all those things. But leading up to that treatment, there were a lot of behavioral and emotional things going on because of how the tumor was affecting her personality.
Ooh, okay.
And that's when I hit bottom. That's when I didn't know how to support her.
During that time, you say you don't know how to support her. Are you still working, first of all? Or had you?
So, great question. Okay. So, right about the time when her tumor was changing, and so she was diagnosed in 2015. About 2016, we started seeing some behavioral things show up after her medical trauma. And then I was laid off at Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another divine intervention. I don't even know how it popped in my head. I hadn't ever had a coaching session with anyone. I was like, oh, maybe I'll try this life coaching thing. So I met with a past coworker who was in the professional development space. And within 3 months, I was in a training program. It was, but it wasn't for my career. It was for me. Self-realization, self-awareness, boundary setting. How do I come into myself to help support me? So I was having it all figured out, right? And then the fall before her big surgery in 2020, I couldn't eat without getting sick. I had so much anxiety, I would be in a fetal position. I dropped down to 100 pounds. I'm like, wow, I can't do this. What is going on?
Yeah.
And this was after I had all of those tools we just talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I mean, it's honestly, I was the same way. I mean, I trained on, how to maintain an equilibrium, how to stay in your sweet spot, which is your like this is where my center is, and this is where I experience happy and calm and joy and that sort of thing. And like when you're in that state of crisis and it's an ebb and flow that starts to go up and down, you are living in a fight, flight, or freeze. And it's very hard to pull from, it can be very hard to pull from what in the prefrontal here in the brain, the front of the brain, of like, I know I should do this, but I'm back here thinking a tiger is chasing me down, Fifth Avenue.
Our amygdala, our prefrontal.
Oh, yeah.
This guy likes to run the show.
Yeah, exactly. I love a little hissy kitty. That's from high school and college. Hissy kitty. And so because the amygdala really does run everything. It's you can't get to the front of the brain where reasoning and thinking occurs when you're living in a state of crisis and your brain feels like you are just fighting for your life. And I think that's where I know, Jenn, that when you talk about the pause, because I talk about take a 90-second pause before you make a decision when you're dealing with a child with behavioral issues, because it allows you just to stop, recenter, and then be able to get going. But we're not talking about that necessarily. But you're saying I had to take some pauses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My body was saying, pause right now or you're not going to make it. But at the same time, people were saying to me, you're so resilient, you're so strong. And I'm like, do you not see? And maybe I did too good of a job hiding it, right? But like, I'm sitting in my car in the driveway after picking up something from the pharmacy. Like, I can't make myself go in my front door.
Yeah.
But if you're listening right now and you're feeling exhausted like that, like, remember your loved one needs you present. Not suffering. And there's a huge difference. And that's where these pause practices can make a difference when you are in the throes of caregiving and you can't get away. Because we always say, oh, well, I'll take care of myself when this resolves, or I'll take care of myself when things slow down. No. Take care of yourself now, because that's going to give you the sustainable energy to fuel your resilience. That resilience that people said I had, that I didn't feel I had. Well, now I have it. And these pauses I've discovered help me find relief in the moment. And at the same time, they help me build my sustainable prosilience. So when people were saying I was resilient, I was like, what are you talking about? I got really curious about it and started looking up exhaustion, caregiver fatigue, compassion fatigue, all of those things. And I ran across prosilience. Proactive resilience, and it's developed by an organizational psychologist for use in organizations. And I was reading this book, and I'm like, holy cow, she's been following me since I was 15, and I didn't know. This is how I've been doing it during the ebbs and flows of life. And so now I know one of the main building blocks of prosilience is centered in those pauses. And when I center ourselves in these pauses and practice them regularly, they help us build our resilience, and we can build upon the different tools we have in our toolbox to access our resilience during challenge.
So has this like need for information, has it hit you during these 6 months? Like, are you using these tools, or does this hit after the 6 months that you're living in the hospital?
So,
which it sounds like also overlaps the COVID.
Oh my gosh, it was. Yeah. And thankfully it was only a month, but like, my struggle with being present and not suffering started like 6 months before, everything hit with COVID. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like a little before and then and after. And I was doing the pauses innately, but I didn't know what I was doing. So when people would ask me, like, how are you doing this? I'd be like, I don't know. I just do it.
Over here, magic. It's just over here being magical and unicorns.
Like,
so I'm kind of curious about, because I think about this with my mom. I'm there. And I know Natalie probably thinks about this with Jason. We're there. Tell me about what you feel the difference is with being there with your daughter versus being present with your daughter. Define for me kind of what the difference is. If you could tell the caregiver, you can be there or you can be present. Tell me about that.
Sure. So I like to share, be where your feet are. So like you're there, you're sitting next to their hospital bed as they're coming out of surgery or whatever, and you're holding their hand, but your mind is spinning in the fear and the what ifs and the what I should have done's and all of those things. Being present means having your feet on the ground, holding their hand, and knowing that you're there in love. And you are right there in the moment. And this isn't meaning like if you're feeling fear to push it aside or away, but it's acknowledging it and not letting it spiral past the point of it being able to help you. So like maybe there's a fear like, oh, this is happening and I'm not sure what that machine's saying. So then you pause and you ask the nurse. So you don't be like, oh my gosh, that beeping means that they're going into da-da-da-da and AFib or da-da-da. No, like be present. Calm yourself is the first building block of resilience. Calm yourself. How do you do that? Well, there are several different ways we can do that. And then this idea of the 4 pauses we can take as exhausted caregivers in place. There's the physical pause, the mental pause, the emotional pause, and the spiritual pause. And these are all learning to manage your energy, because human resilience is fueled by energy. So when we can manage our energy and find where the leaks are and plug them and then fill ourselves up, we're able to fuel our resilience and decide what strategy to use to meet the challenge, decide which resilience muscle, which we have 7 of, which resilience muscle to engage in order to move through the challenge. What I have learned in my work with caregivers, being a caregiver, being a patient, is that when we focus first on fueling ourselves through managing our personal energy, we have the sustainable strength to make it through difficult times.
I'm going to take a pause right there because I want to come back to that. And I love how we've gone completely traditionally off script of how we do things. Doesn't really matter because it's our podcast and that makes it exceptionally fun. And
I'm getting my help right up front.
The resilience is so interesting in what you're talking about. And I want to go a little bit deeper into those 4 areas because I think these are things that you've applied to both working and supporting your daughter, probably also supporting your marriage and making sure that you're not currently divorced because of the stress that comes with this. Right. And then also transitioning into a new type of caregiving and caregiving for your parents, because I know that we talked about going in there. So I'm going to take a break and we'll be right back.
CareForward is a technology platform that connects volunteers with seniors, the disabled, and those with chronic or complex health conditions, offering support like transportation, home visits, and more. Details online at careforward.io.
Hey, everybody, we are back here with Jenn Fredericks. I love when we get to come back from a break because I get to ask the first question.
JJ never gets to talk.
I know. So I do, Nat had mentioned, I do want to talk about you using these tools because when this is about you, I also want to talk about all the things that are part of your life. first, I want to ask about your health and how you're taking care of you during this time. And then I know now we probably want to jump into how you're using these tools to take care of your marriage, because that's incredibly important.
Yes.
So tell me about you, this health of you first.
I'm great. I actually just saw my transplant nephrologist for my follow-up a couple months ago, and all my numbers are good. And I'm just kind of rolling along. I probably should be taking better care of my physical self, meaning like, okay, let's strengthen some muscles. I'm 48, so like, let's strengthen some muscles. Let's, get some cardiac health going for you, get some. So, but no, it's great. And what I know for me, and you guys and your listeners will figure this out for themselves, which of those 4 energies you really focus on that help fuel you the most. And for me, that's taking care of my spiritual and emotional energy. And then it allows me to know when I need to do more with my physical.
So let me ask you, but you said before the break, because right now you're good, but a couple of years ago you were a hotmess.com, and they could have had your photo like how not to survive caregiving. And Jenn Fredericks is all like over there waving in the picture. You said you'd gotten down to 100 pounds, which I'm sure your brother-in-law was like, lady, this kidney's not going to like this.
Well, here's my confession. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I went from literally punching walls in pure frustration to being able to find those pockets of peace and chaos. Like, there are still marks on our walls. My office is upstairs. Marks on our walls downstairs where I kicked or hit walls.
So what got you, like, kind of, let's walk through that, because here's the thing. This is and I appreciate you saying, here's my confession, because this is true. There have been so many times that I just want to scream and I'd want to hit something, because here's the thing. It's better to hit a wall. It's what I always tell my kids that I work with. I'm like, it's better to hit a wall than it is to hit another person. So let's start there. So that's a first step. And then let's work on not hitting walls, because then you're going to hurt yourself. Right. And it's really not the way to get rid of that energy, is because I look at that as, this is energy that you're holding on the inside. That is it coming out in a very negative way that does not serve you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was me trying to hold it all together, not acknowledging that I was having those human feelings about this really difficult situation and trying to push through it, rather than honoring where I was in the moment and saying, I need to go scream into a pillow. I need to go get some fresh air.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a pause. Screaming into a pillow, that's a pause. That can help your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy right there. But I wasn't doing that. I was letting it build, pushing it down, pressure cooker, until it would come out. And me punching a wall and scaring the bejesus out of my 9-year-old daughter, because she's not seen mom act like that before.
Yeah. How is this affecting this same time where you're not eating because you're getting sick every time you eat? You've got this anxiety that is like really exactly what you said, a pressure cooker that is just waiting to explode. How is that affecting your marriage? What's your husband saying to you? Like, lady, if you've lost it, or do you need to go get therapy, or what's going on there?
I think he was terrified, but it's taken us some time. We've always been really great communicators, but it's taken us some time to be able to communicate in a moment like that. We both like to avoid confrontation. So we just kind of wouldn't talk about it.
Planned ignoring.
What I've found that's worked for us then over the years is setting boundaries with each other. Being like, I can't talk about this right now. I want to let you in, but I need 10 minutes. And then coming, so there's a pause, physical pause, removing myself from the, letting the heated discussion. We've never really fought, but letting the heated discussion simmer down a little bit before we actually come back and talk. We're very like-minded, so that really helps our marriage, meaning that, well, one, we don't like confrontation, but two, we've grown together to learn how we can confront each other in a loving way without accusing or pointing fingers, or it's like we're able to, I always say this with my clients, I'm holding my hands up together. Like, how can we hold that both in the palm of our hands so that we can acknowledge and honor it and yet move forward together with it?
I think this is probably one of the most detailed, honest conversations about the impact on marriage that we've had, in a very specific way. Not to any of our other guests that they're holding anything back, but this is a vulnerable moment where you talk about, as two individuals who are trying to care for a child, and the overwhelmingness of the situation and the lack of control that you really don't have, which is the hardest part, I think, of caregiving, especially for someone who wants just to make things right. And how you guys are really able to do that. Did you do any kind of marriage counseling? Did the hospital recommend any kind of peer support groups or counseling for you as parents who are going through this super traumatic event? I see you shaking your head no.
No, I mean, it's about survival when you're in the hospital, right? And then you get discharged. And I remember my mom saying this, when I'd be discharged from my kidney transplants, you're kind of like, how am I supposed to live out in the real world with all this? She used to go to the grocery store and become paralyzed and not know what to do. And so she would just leave. I would do the same thing. Like, my daughter just had a little brain surgery yesterday, and I'm taking her home tomorrow. Are you freaking kidding me? What am I supposed to do?
I can't even imagine how scary that would be. I mean, it's one thing for you to put a Band-Aid on some stuff. It's another thing for you to have what I would like to call, even though it's closed, it's an open wound, people.
It's a very open wound.
I am a trained social worker. I am not remotely qualified for this crap.
She just said little brain surgery, and I just am like, huh?
Like her quotes.
Yeah, she'd have like, she might need to have her shunt revised. And so that's like a quick in one day out the next. She just had that done in February again. Yeah, we were in overnight, and then we bring her home, and that's when I pull on my confidence resilience muscle that we talk about in resilience, because like, I know what I've been through. She's had these little brain surgeries a couple times now, so I can find trust in myself and my husband's knowledge, and thankfully we live 8 minutes from the medical center.
Yeah.
But that's when you really got to lean into that. And that's where the next question comes up. The question from the first time she was admitted: who do you want to be for her? Do you want her coming home scared because mom and dad are like, I don't know what to do? No, like, you want her to be able to feel calm and loved and comforted, because she's just had this surgery where she's been under general anesthesia, and she's had to sleep overnight in the hospital with all the beeping, and all she wants to be is home. But she doesn't want to be in a home where everyone else is scared. And that's like what we talked about before. When we're feeling exhausted and we're suffering, that's when we need to take that pause so that we can be present for our loved one and be there in a way that helps their healing, doesn't add to their, the illness and the concern and all the fear they're feeling.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 16 now.
Oh my goodness gracious! So go ahead. I'm curious about a relationship with her, and what you anticipated a relationship to be like. Oh, I'm going to have this daughter. She's going to wear bows the rest of her life, or how you.
She's always going to be blue. So there's me.
Fantastic.
There's no blue or bows right now, but
fantastic. Or where it is now, like how it impacts you, what you thought this dream was going to be, and also how it impacts her.
Right. I mean, well, let's be serious. Any parent, what you think it's going to be is not what it ends up. I had lovely, lovely guidance from my sister, who has 2 boys in their 20s now, who said, everyone paints it to be unicorns and roses and rainbows, and it's not, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I thank her for that. So this is, I believe that's a divine, that God knew that Layla's soul and my husband's soul needed to be together, but couldn't find a way to get it to us that way, because I couldn't naturally carry children. And so there's a psalm, and it used to be hanging in her room when she was younger, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but the one like, I knew your story before
Oh, yes.
You were born.
Yes.
Yes.
And so we lean into that. We say we always connected really well. Like we never had a hard time bonding or attachment wise. And then when all of this came up for her, we were like, wow, isn't it crazy? And an outsider to say, isn't it crazy that you've had all of this experience? And like, I can fall asleep in a hospital room at the drop of a hat. Like, I am so comfortable in the hospital. Like, isn't it crazy that you can be there that way for her? Like, it was meant. Not that I want her to have this or I want her to suffer, but like, if she does, isn't it a wonderful thing that she has me and then my husband, who was with me for my transplant, the second one as well, as kind of shepherds for her during the time.
You know, it's true. And children look up to their parents for guidance and support. And when the adults are not okay, the children are not okay. And that's just through, and I know we're getting close to our time actually. And so I want to make sure we have time for sister questions too. But I think it's very clear that you're like, this has been messy, people.
So messy.
I've learned a lot from it. And I love, you know, you've got some things in here that you talk about as far as like, you know, your loved one needs you present, not suffering. I love how you said that. You mentioned that earlier. Relief begins with the pause, not the kind where you escape, but present pauses you can take when holding someone's hand in the hospital. Like it's almost like co-occurring. It's you can support someone, concurrently support yourself through interventions. And sometimes the strategies are things that the person you're caring for never even sees you do.
That 3 minutes that you take to do some box breathing while they're talking to the doctor, right? And here's the other thing. If you're not sure, if you're listening and you're not sure what type of exhaustion is really draining you, that's why I came up with a short quiz so that you can figure out if you're the physically wiped out caregiver, the mentally maxed out caregiver, the emotionally overwhelmed caregiver, or the I've lost myself caregiver. And then once you figure that out, like there's a guide. There's like 12 plus strategies in there to help you take pauses. Yeah. And
they're going to be in the show notes, people. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you right now, we are totally, I'm taking the quiz.
Call me. I will tell you, if I have any questions. I mean, everybody can call me. I'll have the address like all starred and favorited on my computer.
And then from there, I really want people to know that I created something that I wished when I had when I was in the hospital, that I could go to 24/7 and hear about these pauses, hear about what other people are going through, see where people need to share and be supported, and also hear from experts. And so I've created Carewell Circle, which is a video-centric online community because caregivers need to see human faces.
Yes, eyes and teeth, people. Eyes and teeth.
And if you can't be across from someone having coffee, like the next best thing is the screen. And I think some of that came out of COVID, thankfully. But yes, find out where you are being drained, because when we know that, then we can help you plug the leak and you can apply these pauses wherever you are. And then you can start to find relief in the moment, as well as start to build your sustainable resilience.
Oh, I'm loving this. All right, Jay. So I'm going to tell you, I have all the helpful links. I have it it'll be in our show notes without question, all the links to Jenn and all this greatness, because I'm going to tell you right now, this is good stuff. And I actually can't wait to take the quiz. JJ's going to take the quiz. We'll probably take the quiz together and then be like, what's your dumpster fire looking like right now? And JJ will be like, well, I am on 0. I'm on empty in this area and this area. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm on empty in this area. And so then look at it and think, what are the things that we could practice to impact us? And understanding, and I'd say, Jenn, you're probably the same, you would say the same thing. You can be drained in any particular area and it will vary from day to day. I think that's really important for people to understand. Is that this goes back to sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to talk about, I'm like, oh, I love all this stuff, Jenn. I'm like, you had me at parasympathetic and sympathetic, but it really, what that is fight, flight, or freeze. Where are you at? And I think I've done there is a chart that I did with Dr. Lori Desautel, who really, you can track this throughout the day. And so those pauses allow you to say, what am I feeling and where am I feeling it? And what do I need to recharge? Those are things that I would encourage you to do, you could also track this and do this. Think about how you feel in the morning. Think about mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, dinner, and bedtime. And you'll see how your emotions fluctuate and how you're fluctuating. And then you can apply specific strategies to that. I don't want to give all that away.
And then even see like where your emotions are at and be like, oh, wow, that emotion really affected me physically here.
That's right.
Right? Because they're all interconnected.
Oh, yeah. And what's the body telling you? Okay, JJ. Okay. Jen and I are going to stop talking about the mental health side and all the fun stuff.
She's my BFF. Back off. She's my BFF. Back off.
Now, ladies, we can.
Okay, sorry. We're going to have to take a pause. Okay. So, question. So, 4 areas that you talked about. Where do you find yourself? Which area do you see yourself drained in the most? And what is your
go-to
theme? Your go-to? Yeah, that helps you.
I would say I pick up on other people's energies a lot. And so emotional is the one that really gets me the most. Mm-hmm. And so I would say I'm the, emotionally overwhelmed caregiver. Yeah. And so that's when I take a pause, put a hand on my chest, my heart. And I say, I don't have to carry everyone else's emotions, and ask the question, is this mine or is this someone else's?
Oh, I love you.
I love it.
I love you. The question itself, is this mine or is this someone else's? And that goes back to what we were talking about with Mel Robbins about just let it go.
Them. Just let them.
Let them.
Acknowledge it, honor it, and then this is theirs. I cannot fix that for them. I can show up in a calm presence once I know where I'm at, and they're responsible for how they show up.
Oh, Mel Robbins, you can have us all on your show. We
Absolutely.
love you. Yeah. We love your books. I also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. Actually,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we love you. We honestly love you. And but okay. And here's my question, because I know I have to wrap it up because we could keep talking forever. Yes. What is the thing? This doesn't even feel like guilty pleasure, but what is your favorite guilty pleasure at this point? What is the thing that you do just for yourself that really helps you to reconnect, that you enjoy, that you're like, I'm just doing this for me?
Yeah. Okay. I'll go to Target.
I'll go to Target too. I love how people are universal. Target.
And I'll get a frozen Coca-Cola and a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh my God.
In the parking lot. And I did this too when COVID. I had to do grocery pickups because I was masking and everything, and I didn't want to. Yeah, I do grocery pickups, but then I'd just run into the cafe part, and I get those 2 things for myself, and I go back and I sit there and eat it in the car before I went home. And I still do that. I'm
going to tell you, she is literally a sister, because I mean, that's the kind of things. We're foodies, and when we need to hide,
with Coke and Doritos.
No. When I say foodie, that's our go-to when we feel stressed. Honestly, here lately in stress, M&Ms, M&Ms and Coke and Doritos. You can all
regular or peanut.
Oh, regular. I actually go just regular, and I normally don't eat milk chocolate. I normally try to eat dark chocolate. So in my mind, it's healthier.
Right.
Whatever.
It is.
But M&Ms it can swing ugly real fast. And so it's one handful, and then 10 handfuls later, I'm like, I don't think that's healthy.
Well, here, I'll help you pause a little bit with that. It's how I eat Skittles. You can eat M&Ms this way too.
Okay, I'm ready.
2 blue ones at a time. 2 brown ones at a time. So just match up the colors, and it'll help slow down the consumption, but you can still feel that need.
It's a little obsessive, and I like that. I'm like,
color coordination
on the skin.
I like that.
Yep.
Jen, thank you so much. I have learned so much. I'm going.
This has been so much fun.
It has been fun too.
Yeah. Well, and guys, I'll close this out. And again, thanks, Jen, for loving on us. We will make sure to have all these things, the quiz about what's draining you now, and caregiver relief guide, and all the information for Jen. You're going to want to connect with her on all social media platforms, because she is just nuggets of wisdom. And here's the thing. If you're unsure, just pause. That's my answer. If you're unsure, just take a pause. And so, Jay, will you close us out?
Absolutely. Guys, until we confess again, we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.